ISUPK under commanding General YAHANNA presents the Midwest Fire Weekend.
My name is Commanding General YAHANNA of the ISUPK, and we here in the safest place you ever could be at in Chicago.
Hosted by Captain Mawquad.
I am Captain Mawquad of the ISUPK, under Commanding General YAHANNA, in charge of putting this Midwest Fire Weekend together.
July 27th through July 30th, the Midwest Fire Weekend, starting Thursday, July 27th, 9909 Roosevelt Road, Suite 100, Westchester, Illinois. Breakfast at 10 a.m. through 12 p.m. Also, Ask the Prophets with General YAHANNA from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. General YAHANNA Scripture Breakdown class. From 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Cross the Line Radio with Captain Tazoriak and Captain Katazai. Late night activity from 12 a.m. until Friday, July 28th. We will have camp downtown Chicago at Magnificent Mile, 430 Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60611 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event that you don't want to miss, commanding General YAHANNA's lecture.
For God's justice to be right in the earth, this entire country has to be devastated in nuclear war.
At 1522 South Wabash Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60605 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
That's right. I was a young man 35 years ago, and they said Russia would turn on America after it came together with America.
$30 per person for the lectures. Use QR code or go to Eventbrite to purchase. Following the lecture, there will be a party from 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. After that, an after party spot from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Saturday, July 29th, the Bantu Festival from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Located at 1130 Midway Pleasant, Chicago, Illinois. After that, late night activity, TBA, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday, July 30th, the Black and Brown Cookout at Garfield Park. Located at 3631 Westlake Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60624. From 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Contact us at 312-837-8022 or 708-417-0706. The Midwest Fire Weekend in Chicago.
I'm in the bushes, just watching this family. I got extensions. Sit up, make granny start dancing. Yeah, we know what you did, and I'm coming, I'm loaded. And I know you don't know it. I just posted up, scope. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet when the motherfucker quiet. They no show like I'ma shoot. 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 Yeah, diamond dance. Yeah, you get the picture. I see you smiling. There's a shooter outside and he quiet, little nigga. All that cap rap might have to find me a nigga. All these niggas watching move, they start jocking the image. I can't even buy it, little nigga. I know this pump it up, flip them, we get the drop on the cops in Alabama. I get the order and she pull up on the class. They talking about they catch a nigga, they gon' hang him. Catch them while they hanging. One by one we take them. I know this bitch, that bitch told she keep a secret. No, but I can't trust her. What's the point, bitch, in my business? We moving silence. No rank, little boy, keep silent. This Mac come with a silence. It's a true moment of silence, little bitch. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet when the motherfucker quiet. They know so like I'ma shoot. 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 Yeah, time to dance. Yeah, to get the picture. I see you smiling, cause it won't fit. Christ return, it's gonna be some killings all in these streets. Vesture dipped in blood, no he ain't condescend peace. It's gonna get way too ugly for the land and free. Ask yourself why little boy, and I'm sure that you see. I don't believe in make-believe. Greek mythology is way too cheap. I don't celebrate my birthday cause this shit bigger than me. Call me what you wanna call. I'ma prove it with the tongue. If these boys ever catch me, I'm going out like 7 songs. Stick my tongue out, put my hands on like cut the bitch off. Before I ever trade on my nation, my word or my God. All these Edomites trying to catch me cause they know I'm right. It either be a bitch or my own people that's trying to take my life. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. There's a shooter outside and he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet. Yeah, he quiet when the motherfucker quiet. They know so like I'ma shoot. 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 Yeah, got me dance. Yeah, to get the picture. I see you smiling, cause a boy victim. Come on, not like that.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So then you said that they put millions of my taxes. Yes, you said. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom, we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now. You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. 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 Look, ain't no remorse in my blood cell. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. and sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. There was design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I need another mother.
The mic's up.
Check.
Appreciate you.
Check.
Can you slide over, man?
Check.
Slide. Can you slide over, dude?
More?
Yeah, man.
More?
Yeah, there we go.
Damn, you're not that big. Pause. That was a pause. That was crazy. I feel like Cam and Mace were watching us before they started that show.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Hey, man, welcome to another edition of Cross the Line Radio.
Welcome to another edition of Cross the Line Radio.
Hosted by Captains Tazaryak and Kadazar. As y'all can see, Kadazar still here.
Yeah,
some nut ass Israel.
contrary to popular belief, you know what I'm saying? Not only did Cross the Line not go anywhere, but neither did I. It's gonna take a lot more than that to get me out of here. All right, been doing this 11 years strong. All right, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that's what Command General YAHANNA says. That's all that matters. Yo, tell me like he don't remind you of a shark when he first came in.
No.
I'm telling you, bro. This right here is your doppelganger. You're gonna look like this in 10 years. Where are we? Oh yeah, I'm back. I can't take no more vacations. I see.
Yeah, I know we got the Midwest Fire Weekend coming up next week. I'll definitely be in the building for that. Big up the Captain Marvel Quad, aka the Midwest Monster of Mayhem.
Shit.
Yeah, nobody heard that. Yeah, we can't forget our boy Shagapon on the 1s and 2s on the boards.
Saying AG.
He'll be in there. He's gonna be in Chicago as well.
AG in the place.
We got a special guest tonight. Commander Jenny Hanna will be joining the building tonight. We're gonna interview him, ask him a couple questions, see everything that's going on.
There you go.
Hey, them Asians that I debated. Yeah,
knock.
Alvin Macadondo.
Knock.
Hey, Ashar. Pull up a Mars Attack. Pull up Mars Attack. Pull it on YouTube. Pull up Mars Attacks on YouTube real fast. Let's pull it up. Mars Attacks.
Yeah. And shout out to Yawasop for stealing my joke.
Yeah, pull up Mars Attack. Now we're gonna do another debate. We're gonna do another battle. So
take notes in my class. Now you take my jokes.
The Asian cats hit me up and they said they want to battle on Is Jesus the Father? So we're working on that in August.
And you know what? Thank you, K-Shine. I have been in the gym. I'm glad you noticed. Give me 6 months.
Well, he got smaller?
Huh?
You saying he got smaller?
I definitely lost some weight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Definitely.
Right, definitely got smaller.
Definitely.
Mars Attack.
I'm definitely lethal right now.
Play that. Yeah, play that one We Come in Peace. No, go to the We Come in Peace. At the top. Yeah, play that.
Is it monetization?
All right, y'all don't monetize nothing anyway. Go back to the video. What are you doing? No, I don't want you to share it.
Shots
yet.
fired.
Get to the part I want you to see. Give up some. Yeah, keep skip up. Skip up. a skip to where he's on the mic talking. Yeah,
That's exactly how Filipinos sound.
Back up a little bit. All right, now back up a little bit. A couple seconds before that, we just want to hear him talk. Now pause it. Now you're gonna share that.
That's exactly how he sounded.
You're gonna share that. Look, hey y'all, this is who I was battling. You share it? That is funny, man. Let me see if he say anything else. Let me see. Oh, that's it. That's good. That's good. You can stop it. That's all I wanted to show. So we're doing another debate in August. It's either going to be the first week in August or the third week in August. I'll be in Atlanta. Shout out to Yerma, the brothers down there in Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta August 10th. I already booked the flight. From August 10th to the 13th, that Thursday to Sunday. So I'll be doing a scripture breakdown class for Atlanta down there Thursday. Camp, I believe they have it Saturday. I'm looking forward to see what else we're going to do. So if you're in the Atlanta area, just hit me up, so we can link up and rock some things out. We got the headquarters cookout, August 28th. We got the boat ride, the 27th. Scripture breakdown will be Friday instead of Thursday that week. Then after that, we got the trip to London, man. Big up to my brother Gadar. I'll be definitely going out to London to the UK. So I'm looking forward to that. Just waiting for my passport to come back. I had to renew it. So once I get that renewal paperwork, I'll be in the game. And I think that's everything we got.
And there's a sale going on right now.
You got the phone line?
Carl Gas, TLC.
Oh. Look. We do got a sale going on.
Come on.
Cause I always know there's a sale going on.
I'm in promotion mode.
I see.
I'm locked in.
I got a 30% sale off of all products. I will be bringing new scents to Chicago. One new scent is called Legend. I don't have a name for the other scent. Now, this Legend is not the old Legend because I used to have one called Legend. It's a different Legend. And then I got another scent for men. And then I got two new scents for women. I'm thinking about think about calling one of them Rain or Wet, even though I got an imported oil called Wet. I might call this one Wet. Is it Wet?
Let's call it WAP. I can just call it a day.
WAP.
W-A-P.
What?
WAP.
Nah, I'm not getting that call from the chicken. You're going too far.
You done named some nasty shit. Like, what are you talking about? He don't want to be responsible for the baby boom.
Yeah,
no
you
more.
don't have the number displaying. People are asking for the number to call in. 917-779-9499 is the number to call in. If you got a question or a comment, that is the number to call in. But I do have a 30% off sale. One of the women's. Now I got one called Sunshine for women. Where I came up with the name Sunshine, I was watching Harlem Nights, and that's when the old lady was like, "It's so good, you look up in the air, you call it Sunshine." That's how I got that name. The other one is called Pink Pearls.
See what I'm saying? I think
Pink
I'm
pearls.
tripping.
Like a pearl is in the ocean, right?
Yeah. So.
Ain't a pearl in the ocean?
And the ocean is wet. Just
are you on Clubhouse, Ashar?
Y'all ain't know.
Are you on Clubhouse, Katas? Are you logged in on Clubhouse?
Already. Y'all tu sabe.
So I'm the only one not on Clubhouse? And you ping me.
And Tribe Vibes is going to revolutionize how music streaming is done.
Revolutionize.
Just know it's coming. We're coming first on Apple and then on Android. Pause.
Hey, can I say something real fast?
Yeah.
What's up?
www.crossthelineradio.com is where we have all of our exclusives to everybody who is supporting us via Patreon. Not only did we cut the price in half, but you understand Commander General YAHANNA, which he's going to promote this today. It's going to be on crossthelineradio.com. His lecture, you can get your tickets. Also, if you're already subscribed, you get a discount to that and any other live events that we have, pay-per-view, and all of Captain Nazaryak's lecture, Officer Yatazar's lecture, the 12 Tribes lectures up there right now, camp videos that were too explicit for YouTube, a couple of different debates and battles, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that, all of our exclusive content and whatever is too raw for these YouTube streets goes on CrossTheLineRadio.com. And the Cross the Line app is coming soon as well. Uh-oh. Y'all didn't know about that. Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Yo, y'all gonna get exclusive me rapping, man. I did a whole album.
All because the skin I'm in.
Shut up, nigga. Shut up.
Oh, matter of fact, that's what they're doing on Bar Breakdown. You're welcome.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
I'm gonna shut
I was
that
like,
down.
what song are you gonna do? I'm like, I got one for you. He's like, I didn't know Captain Zaryak did a song. I said, I got you. Don't worry about it. I put him on the hook.
Here it is. I thought we was brothers.
The best of brothers.
There you go.
Like same house, same dad.
Hey, if I could say something real fast, right today, I think Clubhouse was. Damn, we got a lot of calls on the line. All right, let's do these calls. You ain't watching. You ain't doing your job, Ashar.
Oh shit!
You shouldn't have nothing going on but the show.
Next one. Yeah.
You skipped it.
313-977. You're on the air. State your name, where you calling from. 313-977.
Hey, who's this?
Ashar, keep an eye on the Johnny Hunter comes in.
What's going on, brother? Come on with it.
Turn me up a little bit. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Oh,
no, you got it.
Oh, you got it.
You got it.
So sure. So, okay. The story of Adam and Eve is an allegory. Allegory is a true story told in a metaphorical fashion. So you have two instances where that was used. I'm gonna paraphrase one, read the other. What is it? First Samuel's 5 or 2, and what is it?
What?
What is it? Samuel what? You know.
You talk about 2 Samuel 5:1?
2 Samuel 5:1. You know what I'm saying?
You want me to read it?
If you could pull it up, I would have read it. You want to read it?
2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 1.
This guy's playing.
Then came all the tribes of Israel.
All the what?
All the tribes.
Some of the tribes.
All the tribes.
Most of the tribes.
All the tribes.
2 of the tribes.
All the tribes.
All the tribes, brother.
To David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh.
We are thy what?
We are thy bone and thy flesh.
So when you see, you understand, flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, all my niggas get down like what? Or when, you know what I'm saying, when you see flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, what you're seeing is it's talking about your tribe, your nation. So what happened was the tradition of us not interracially marrying started with Adam and Eve.
On YouTube, on Clubhouse.
So you probably gotta share the screen, do that trick. All right. So when you see Adam going and taking Eve, he didn't go and get a woman from another nation. He got a woman from his nation. And then when it was sewn up, that was the tradition being sewn up. That's why once you get all the way on down to Genesis, the 7th chapter or the 6th chapter, it said that Noah was perfect in his what? In his generations. Because he went and got flesh of his flesh, bone of his bone, while the sons of God saw the daughters of men and took what they wanted as wives. The Lord drowned the earth for interracial marriage. Interracial marriage is a sin. Adam was the one who started the tradition of getting a woman from your nation. Flesh of your flesh, bone of your bone, your rib is a woman from your people.
So when you say he calls it deep sleep, that's the allegory.
The deep sleep was more so a state of awareness. You know what I'm saying? So like, for example, when you read in Isaiah, the 28th chapter, it talks about 29, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? When you read Isaiah, the 29th chapter, it talks about how the Lord shall pour out a deep sleep. You know what I'm saying? So that was just more so of an unawareness. Adam wasn't aware of that. Like you got kids?
Yeah.
You with your son's mother?
I'm with one of my children's mother.
But what happened to the other one?
Had to leave her alone.
You know why? Because when you got with her, you were in that deep sleep that Adam was in. You weren't aware. You understand? Like you understand it wasn't even something you were conscious of in the decision. You got with her. Now looking back, you understand a little bit more, don't you? So that whole, you understand, sleep that he was in was just talking about his state of awareness. But now afterwards, we understand what happened and we understand the tradition that was created.
But I can ask another question.
Come on with it.
So, like Hispanic people, right?
I know
Like
something about
people,
Hispanic people, huh?
So, like Hispanic people, like Native American people, it's like, so the Bible says. So, what I'm trying to ask is it that whatever those races is, right? Is it that Israelites is like poured out among those races, or is it that like all Hispanic people is Israelites and all Americans is Israelites?
Okay, so the Hispanic people who are Israelites were conquered by the actual Spanish. So Spaniards are not Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Like the Spanish, the Portuguese, you know what I'm saying? The vast majority of the conquistadors were white Europeans who were sailing for Ferdinand and Isabella. They conquered.
Well, I don't want to. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'll try to clarify my question. So it's like so when y'all like saying y'all fishing for men, it's like so all those people ain't Israelites, but y'all just try to fish for the ones who is like Israelites. How can I say it? Like so they not all Israelites then.
That's why we always say the blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians of Negro and Indian descent.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, for example, let's start with Puerto Rico. Do you know what the native Puerto Ricans were called before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492?
Indians.
Okay, Indian is what they called them. Indian means savage. You understand? Indian. Like that's not what they were. I'm saying, do you know what they called themselves?
You said, no, I would imagine they would call themselves like, I guess, Israelites.
Well, they were Israelites, right? But now Christopher Columbus comes. Why don't they call themselves Israelites anymore?
I thought some did.
Okay. What did they start calling themselves after Columbus came?
You talking about the Hispanic people, right? I'm so-called, you know.
Right now, me and you are talking about the indigenous Puerto Ricans. We're talking about the Indians on the island. You know what I'm saying? If you want to call them Indians, I'll call them Indians. And that's the point of this conversation, is that we have to identify with what people identify themselves as. If I just start calling Puerto Ricans Israelites and they've been calling themselves Hispanics for the last 400 years, they're not going to know I'm talking to them. So as a result, when I call them a Puerto Rican, when I call them a Latino, when I call them a Hispanic, that's the titles that they were conquered under. So now when I come and I find a Puerto Rican, I ask him and I say, your father, was he Los Indios? Meaning, was he an Indian or was he a Spaniard? And I'm either going to get one of three answers. I'm either going to get, I don't know. Great sign. Excellent sign. I hear, I don't know. I'm 99% sure you're an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
Alo panya, Barack. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrakatah.
Hey, Yahweh Hashem Shabrakatah. What's going on, Warriors?
Hey, what's going on?
How y'all doing?
Tua.
We good to go. Hey, caller, we just gonna put you on mute for 1 second, and then we'll come back to you. All right.
All right, cool.
All right. For those that don't know, that voice that you just heard is Commander Jenny YAHANNA of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. So we greatly appreciate you sparing some time for us to come on the show.
Most High in Christ. My pleasure to be here, Cap.
Thank you. You know, you're doing something you haven't done. I ain't seen since I think the 2017 Passover. At the 2017 Passover, that's when you brought out that beautiful information on Egypt. Khan, sir. And so now in 2023, with everything going on, you're doing another lecture, which will be taking place next week rather, in Chicago at the Midwest Fire Weekend. Big up to Captain Marvel Quad getting that done. You know what I mean? And so the title of that lecture, I believe, is preparation for the upcoming Third World War. Or
That
something.
is correct. Third World War we talking about.
Yes, sir. So now my first question is like, what made you come up with that particular type of concept to do that? Like, well, I'm sorry, before I even ask that, what made you want to do the lecture itself? Like, get back into doing the lecture and the speaking. Like, what brought that part upon, sir?
I think it was the urgency, Cat. The urgency of what we're suffering right now. Like the urgency, a lot of people didn't listen to us during the pandemic, and we lost a lot of Black and Latinos and Native Indians for no reason. And now, I got a simple question for Black and Latino America. Even though we don't believe it's going to happen, but what happens if the Third World War breaks out and they want to send your sons and your daughters to die? What are you gonna do?
Right.
What is your plan? Are we even talking about it? Everybody talking about Keke Palmer being a hoe, which she is.
Right.
But are we talking about what we're gonna do if this thing falls apart, which is going to fall apart? Is biblical prophecy, and so many prophecies have come up to the forefront, and we've heard for years Third World War, Third World War, Third World War. It's time to have a serious discussion about it, and it's time for everybody to get their voice together so they can answer some of these questions. How are you going to deal with it? What is your plan? Because we understand the biblical plan, but I don't think a lot of people understand what's getting ready to happen with their world and their life.
Right.
It's about time we have, a serious discussion about it. And I just thought this was the time to do it. This may be one of the few windows of opportunity that we have to reach as many people as we're able to reach and to get their head into the right place. It's time to come out of this world seriously.
That's right.
Because a lot of people going to die in this near future. And we don't have to die. Christ said, why die when you can live? You know what I mean? This is not a lecture to bring fear on everybody and scare anybody or anything like that. This is a lecture to wake us up on what we're getting ready to have to face in the very near future, and to prepare us for that, and to make sure we have the most important thing that's necessary at this time, and that is the lines of communication and brotherhood across our entire nation. So yeah, that's what made me get into it. You know what I mean?
Sir. And also now you chose to start in Chicago. Was there significance to do it in Chicago, or what made you choose to do it in Chicago to start?
I think one, Chicago is a hell of a city, and there are a whole lot of Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians in that city, and throughout the entire Midwest. And it just seemed like the proper starting point. And big shout out to Captain Mount Quad.
That's right.
The Midwest Monster of Mayhem. You know what I mean? Putting it down so hard in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like we just flowed together on it and was able to get it started there. But we definitely, we are definitely, I talked with the generals about it as well. We are definitely ready to crisscross the world and to get our people together.
Sir. Because I was going to ask you that. I said, I was wondering if you was going to stop it there, or would you do it because we have other zones that we, going to be visiting. We got California, Texas, Florida, New York, and the UK. So is this something that you might do at the other zones as well? Or
most definitely. Not necessarily on the barbecue dates.
Right.
This just happened to fall during the Midwest barbecue, and it seemed like the timing was right.
Right.
It was right in the spirit. But I can't necessarily say we'll be doing it for every single city on that date, but we will be hitting every city, whether it's on the barbecue day, and I'll be at every barbecue anyway.
Right.
But I can't necessarily say we'll be doing a full-fledged lecture at each one.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of logistics.
Yeah, so because I think that'd be good. We could see the general out there doing his thing with them lectures with all that information you got up there.
Most High in Christ, you know, man, it's definitely, something. It seemed like it's the time, we going, as we could already see, everybody's beginning to feel the grind and the crunch right now. as we unfold down to this next election, with everything that's going on, man, you know, North Korea just shot 2 missiles into the Sea of Japan. As the United States, for the first time in 40 years, parked a nuclear submarine in the Bay of South Korea.
And did they do that because of what North Korea did?
Absolutely. No, they did it. North Korea did it based on what the U.S. did. The U.S., in a show of force over Taiwan, pulled a nuclear submarine up into their bay. First time in 40 years, the U.S. has had a nuclear weapon that close to China. And so they brought that nuclear sub right into South Korea and pissed off the North Koreans. They fired off 2 ICBM missiles into the Sea of Japan. And that's not the only skirmish. The skirmishes are getting bad. You know what I mean? Iran had to get run off. The United States had to send a battle cruiser to protect the oil lanes because the Iranians were coming in there with those old school U-boats. That's really what they are. And that the Germans used. And they came up in there and started, trying to commandeer oil tankers from Australia and other countries. The U.S. had to run over there quickly and try to fend them off. It's a powder cake going on over there right now. It's a powder cake of madness. And there are so many unconventional avenues to bring a lot of destruction on the Lord's chosen. And right now, be frankly, we totally lost. We're in a coma right now.
Con, sir. You want to say something?
It's like, sir, if I could. So one of the other things also that I've been noticing was the alliance with BRICS, and as that started to form, I'm starting to see more and more of these other countries leave the American dollar, go back to their own dollar, and apply to join BRICS. So as far as like it seems as if there's also like an economic war that's happening right now that they're all lobbying, you know what I'm saying, for supremacy on like the world market when it comes down to currency. Like as far as what you've witnessed, like how much is that going to play, or what do you see for coming from that?
Well, the BRICS countries are trying to come together because they all the nations know they're going to war. Every last nation knows they're going to the Third World War. So the BRICS nations are just trying to come together to have some kind of economic strength in the event that they have an all-out war. They trying to have some strength with themselves and trying to bring themselves together and trying to back their currency with some gold just in case it goes south. And to be quite frank, the other nations are tired of the United States' white supremacy. They're tired. What we suffered for 400 years, they don't want to suffer anymore. They haven't suffered like we suffered, but they don't want to suffer anymore. They want us out of the way so that they can go and do and be who they want to be. So they vex with the U.S., they vex with the U.S. dollar, and they believe that in China they can have enough strength to come up against the U.S. And so that's what they're planning to do. But more important even than what they're doing economically, what they're doing militarily is what's the real situation. The war that broke out in the Sudan between the government and factions of the military was influenced by Russia. Russia influenced an insurrection in the nation of Sudan. That type of play is going to play out in other countries. And it's going to escalate. The thing to look at right now, Saudi Arabia is chumming up to Russia right now. The thing to look for is when Saudi Arabia turns back to align itself with the United States. When that happens, you can get ready to expect some real danger to break out in the world. And brother, every step, every one of these news articles, every step we take means the end of the empire, but it also means what happens to us.
Right.
For those of us that don't know, you're going to be left in the wind, and a lot of us are going to end up dying. And our jobs as men of God and prophets of the Lord is to try to prevent as many deaths as we can possibly do by turning our brothers and sisters back to Yahushua. And so, yeah, we got to prepare them, and we're trying to give them the insight on everything that they might have to deal with when it's coming up. But it is definitely on its way. It's very close. It could break out any minute. And long before they go nuclear, the question again is, what are we going to do with our sons?
Right.
What are we going to do with our sons when they turn around and say they want to take the sons away? Brothers and sisters in the world, the Christian's going to tell your son to go be a man. Get off the street corner. Go to war. That's what they're going to say. A lot of the Arabs that have had our brothers and sisters under the mindset of the Arab gods are going to tell our brothers and sisters like they did during the first war with Iraq. Remember, after the Iraq war ended, that group they call ISIS was recruiting brothers and sisters from over here and in Europe. And our silly brothers and sisters went over there and joined up with them groups in Syria, and many of them died in those groups. Many of them are stuck over there now. Many even fake Israelites took people over there to Egypt and different areas and dragged them out of the country. And if you really love the Lord's 12 tribes, if you really love blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, it should vex your soul that our people got to die for no reason, for ignorance. Like, we got to die again over ignorance. And so, you know, we, all of us at the UPK, you know, we sincere soldiers for Christ that fight for our brothers and sisters to wake up. That's what we're doing now. That's what this is all about. It's all about trying to curb some simpleton from going off and giving his life for the empire that Christ is getting ready to wipe out.
Cuddle Khan. So now I remember you know what I'm saying, a little while back that there was a class that was taught that one of the other things to look for would be, for example, Gomer jumping sides, which is France, you know what I'm saying, leaving America and then also going to Russia. But what other countries, like as far as where skirmishes are supposed to pop off, or what is a sign of like when a particular landmass is invaded that we know it's really heating up?
Well, what you said about Goma is important because, you know, Goma's on fire right now.
Right.
They're over there, brother, burning the whole country apart. They saying it's over this little boy that got killed, but really they over there fighting to really turn the country into an Arab country. And the major sign that I look for is there are two major signs that we should be looking at. One is Saudi Arabia, and one is the so-called state of Israel. Those are the two. That's the main two. And again, Saudi Arabia is chumming up to Russia right now, flirting with the idea of becoming a BRICS nation. They're going to turn back to the U.S. And when they get back with the U.S., it's going to be a problem. Because they're going to have had made commitments to Russia that is not going to be easy to turn back. Remember, China brokered a deal with Saudi Arabia and Iran. If Saudi Arabia turns back from that, it's going to create a major shift. So France is already burning. Saudi Arabia is getting ready to get into it. And then, of course, the state of Israel, who's also warming up as well. They're killing Palestinians over there like crazy, pushing them off the land, creating more mayhem than ever. And although these things have slowly burned over time in the past, they're about to escalate. They're about to escalate, and we're about to get drawn into it. And part of this bad economics means a lot of brothers are going to turn around and think, I got a better shot at just going to the military than standing with my brothers. And we got to get them to stand with their brothers and not give up their soul to serve their slave master. And he's going to have plenty of incentives for prison and all that. We've heard this before, but we're closer now than ever. Also look for Taiwan, of course. You know, Taiwan is the one that makes those microchips.
Yeah.
You can't fly any of the new jets without those microchips that come out of Taiwan. They're trying to build factories. That's not an easy thing to do. They're trying to build factories in the U.S. But even with factories in the U.S. and China, they can't build them as good as they build them over there in Taiwan. And they need those chips are so sophisticated that the new planes can't fly without them. The new weapons can't run without them. So whoever gets hold of those chips controls that, you know, the whole sky, which means again, Third World War. Yeah.
Sir, I know we had spoke. So at some point we do have, if some people maybe want to come in and ask you a question, I know you did say you would take questions. So for the people that want to ask questions, we'll bring y'all in shortly. Ashar, you said you had a question for the general?
Captain Kataza asked what I was going to ask. So no.
Okay.
But I do want to say, for those who are going to come up on the show and ask a question, please have a video camera so we can see who you are.
Yeah.
And make sure you answer the comment that I'm putting in the private chat so I can know what your comment or question is.
Right. So that's the rules. We got to see your face. You're not going to be like no Edomite coming up in here trying to creep in unawares. We need to see your face on the camera and your mic. And like Ashar said, you want to answer the question, what your question is, so the general knows what you want to talk about. So we do have one person in there. And then, of course, you could call in to 917-779-9499. We'll definitely take questions there. We do have a couple of callers there, so that won't be a problem. But if you do want to come into the StreamYard, we got to see your face. And if you're a man or a woman, you got to have clothes on. What I mean by that is, it's like, hey, Jenna, I be seeing Sarnetta channel. They be on there with wife beaters. Ain't got no shirt on. I tell them quick, hey, man, put some clothes on. I do not want to see no grown man in a wife beater. Yeah.
So for the person waiting to be brought on stage, please put your camera on because we can't see you. And please make sure you're dressed appropriately.
That's right. Until then, I think Kadazai had like another question for you.
Now you see why I'm having this lecture.
Yes, sir.
See why we need it, right?
I do see it. I see it.
I think I had two other questions. One of them was, is there anything concerning like an invasion with Yemen that's supposed to happen?
Yemen is already at war. I don't know how familiar you are with what's going on over there. Right now in Yemen, Saudi Arabia and Iran are basically fighting a proxy war in Yemen. The Houthis in Yemen are getting slaughtered. You know what I mean? That was part of China trying to settle the differences between Saudi Arabia and Iran, because both of them are in Yemen bombing and killing, and the Saudi Arabians was killing them Houthis. I'm probably mispronouncing their name, but killing them, brother, like, you know, wholesale. They was killing and slaughtering them wholesale. The Iranians were trying to back the other side, and it was escalating. And the China has put a temporary damper on it, but we'll be back to that again shortly. So yeah, they're already in it.
And then my last question for you, General, is and now what's something that I see that's not usually publicized, and I really damn near feel like we're some of the only ones who speak about it. And I mean, you know, Elon Musk is in bed with them. He got some kind of crazy military clearance, but the Space Force, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you believe that that's something that's going to be pivotal in this, or is that strictly just for preventative measures with, you know what I'm saying, the return of Yahushua?
I think it's a little bit of both. The whole reason that they started to publicize, they've been had that Space Force. Space Force has been going on for decades. For decades, they've been out there doing military exercises. They've been out there working with Russia and others. But then as their relationship with Russia fell apart, and China did something that they didn't expect, which was they went up and landed on the dark side of the moon and began to try to build a base over there, which means that they have a strategic position against the United States. So they're starting to build up their weaponry to fight each other if necessary in space, or to get their missiles over to the other side quickly, which is, once again, that's a clear sign that they know that they're going to eventually have to fight this nuclear war. So they're trying to get themselves in the best positions they can. At the same time, of course, they are not stupid. They all know that the prophecies are coming to pass. So since the 80s, since the days of Ronald Reagan, really before Ronald Reagan, but since the days of Ronald Reagan, they've been publishing how they were putting weapons in space. and nuclear weapons in space. Also, by the way, weapons
Right.
that can sit up there and not have to be turned off because they running
Right.
on nuclear power.
Mhm.
So they've been putting them weapons up there for a long time, but now it's become a problem because China has escalated in outer space with its weapons. And so they're concerned. They're concerned, and they should be, because they're about to catch a judgment like they never did before. So yes, it's for both. It's definitely for Yahushua, but it always started out for Yahushua. But now that China has gotten into it, now they have to sort of deploy a little differently, make it a little more public, because of course they can't just do it on a whole quiet clandestine thing when you got a whole nother country sending weapons and military people up into outer space. That's also what all these contractors are for. Elon Musk and guy from Virgin Airlines and
Right.
Jeff Bezos. All of these contractors is just like any military contractors. You know what I mean? When the military gets ready to ramp things up, they call in their top contractors, and they have those contractors build for them. Well, what these guys are getting ready to do is build infrastructure, and, if possible, mine up in these areas to help build their weaponry up in space, because they plan on trying to beat Yahushua.
Cuddle Khan. So Salaki, so just one other question,
Please.
based off. So we know that the prophecies, like we knew that it was supposed to be Russia involved because of Gog and Magog and the hooks being put in his mouth. We know about, Gomer being mentioned, and then we from even in the scriptures describing the elements melting and the glittering sword and spears. Is there any prophecies in the scripture concerning where like who's going to make the major strike first?
Yeah, there is. I probably would save a lot of that for.
I don't want to take everything from you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He's trying to get all your information out. He's trying to get it all out.
I just want to know who got the answers now. All right.
Yeah, like for sure. Okay, and that's a good point you brought up. For sure, this lecture, I plan to lay out a map and show everybody just where we started, where we got, and when we got there, and how every one of these steps fit into the puzzle, including China, including all the major countries that are in there, and how they fit into this prophecy. You know what I'm saying? And of course, what steps will take place next. And the most important is, what are we going to do? That's the most important part. What are we going to do? And there are some things that we should be doing, that we will be doing in the near future. My only hope is that we can wake up enough brothers and sisters to hear it. But sure, all of that fits into the puzzle. And and all of that will show us, and everybody that's willing to come out and hear it, it'll just show us how real these prophecies have been. And we've neglected this book in ways that are horrific. We've wasted our lives as a people on so many other trivial things, when this book has been sitting there preparing us, for hundreds of years for these days that we're living in right now. And it behooves us to use our brain for once and take hold of these records and lay them out and make them a part of our day-to-day operation in trying to save our brothers and sisters. We can't give away enough food. That's how bad we're suffering out here.
Khan, and I think and I guess we're about to bring some other brothers on who have a question, but I do think that it's excellent that this is going on in Chicago, especially because a few years ago, I remember when you were talking about how they want, meaning you understand, our oppressor wants to be able to take Chicago back, and that they want to tame the Midwest because they're sitting on prime real estate over there. And then, I mean, a little under a year ago, you know what I'm saying, one of the most famous hoods in the country, they just sold O-Block. So it's like now you're about to see a lot of displacement. You know what I'm saying? It seems as if there's going to be a lot of gentrification going on inside that area. So it's like I do think it's excellent that this is happening inside of you know what I'm saying, in like a tumultuous time inside of Chicago, that maybe we can you know what I'm saying, grab as many, you know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters as we can, you know what I'm saying, during this time frame, because it seems as if they're getting ready to make moves out there as well.
Listen, you're absolutely right. When we first came up to Chicago, Captain Malquad brought us out to the beach. When we went out to the beach, we went out there and had a time with the brothers and all that. And I remember how heavy the security was out at that beach. And I remember getting out there and seeing how beautiful this beach was, and how on the beach you could see the skylight of the downtown area, how it was just an amazing scenery. Yet this neighborhood was halfway abandoned, crime and guns and death on our people everywhere. Well, on my return trip, the brothers started looking for locations for us to stay. One of the locations they looked at was that same beach area. And I said to them, you sure this is the area we should be in? Because I remember this area right here, we had to go over the top with security. And they came back and told me, oh no, this area is totally different now. And they showed me the prices of the real estate in that area, brother. And those prices were insane compared to what they were just a few years ago. And of course, the Edomites have come in and taken it over. We about to get deeply displaced. We're about to fall into the hands of the Lord, because we ain't gonna have much else to fall into the hands of. You know what I mean? So what you're saying is right. That's exactly, one good reason that we're in that Midwest. And we'll spread. We're gonna go everywhere. We're gonna get this out all over. We'll be in London end of September. Big shout out to Parasha and all the warriors out there.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Other side of the palm. We'll be over there doing Europe, and then we'll be coming back to build up on this side. Plus, I see a lot of brothers and sisters really trying to lock in with us. You know what I mean? Brothers and sisters are really watching all the shows and the tapes.
Yeah,
and of course, Cross the Line is popping better than ever. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to the great work y'all have done over the years to build this show up, man. And push back against all the madness that tried to drown you, you know what I mean, in it.
Right. Yes, sir. So now, sir, we got a few people on the line that want to talk to you through StreamYard.
Okay.
So the first person, and also, like, I think on Clubhouse as well, but we're going to do the video people first. So, Righteous Man, if you can bring your camera on, we're going to add you to the stream, but you got to put your face on the camera. We appreciate it greatly. All right. So now you'll go ahead and address and ask your question to Commander Jenny Hanna. Now I'm gonna warn everybody, right?
You gotta come back on. He just something happened. He got
okay. That's right. Then we'll go to Samad Shah. I'm gonna warn everybody. If you ask a stupid question, I'm gonna just tell a Shah, just take him off the stream.
Wearing clothes.
Yeah, if you're not wearing clothes, just remember this is Commanding Jenny Hanna. This is not me. Like I don't mind you asking me stupid questions. You ask me stupid questions. You just can't ask Jenny Hanna stupid questions. All right. So we're gonna start with Officer Mashah. Mashah, can you unmute your mic? You gotta unmute your mic, brother.
Shalom, Yahabashim Hashabrakatah.
What's going on, mighty man?
Doing the best I can out here, sir, in Detroit. A couple of questions.
Big shout out to Detroit.
The first one is, I've been noticing we setting records in the United States and across the world with this heat wave. Does that relate to World War III, considering that Putin blocked off the wheat coming out of the Ukraine, and now this heat wave is devastating food supplies all over the world?
Okay, I don't know why this heat wave is on. I don't know if this is something the Lord has not revealed that to me, that whether or not that, this heat wave means something. You never know with Esau. He could be manufacturing that just to give us the climate change hustle. Right now, the big thing that they want us in the United States to swallow down is climate change. And so they will do every dirty trick in the book to get us to submit to the climate change. They want a carbon tax. They just want to give the UN more power and control. So I don't know whether or not this heat was just a simple summer heat wave, or was this something else more nefarious? It didn't fit with any prophecies. You understand? So we don't know where it did not appear biblical. You understand? It appeared like it was more man-made madness, but we don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know until, whatever was done in the dark begins to come out. Putin held down that wheat because they tried to embargo his wheat. Before he stopped the wheat, they tried to embargo the wheat. They tried to stop the wheat. And when they couldn't stop the wheat, they turned around and tried to threaten the wheat. And now he shut down the wheat. But make no mistake, the United States, with its power, that's not a thing too much for us to worry about. You know what I mean? If the food gets cut off in the United States, it won't be by another country.
Right.
It will be because this country did it. It's just one of those things we should be looking at, like you bring it out, which is so important. One of those things we should be looking at is, what is our country doing, so-called our country, but it's not our country. But what is this country going to do to us? This is the sad part about it. Our people, the majority of our people, trust in this enemy instead of trusting in the Most High. And so what you're saying is very possible. It's very possible we wake up tomorrow and now tons of food is wiped out. But it won't be because of another country. And furthermore, the United States, if they say the corn is getting cut off, then you got something to look at. They cut that damn corn off, brother, and America will close tomorrow. Nobody's gonna eat no wheat no more over here. But over here, everybody's eating corn. But everywhere else in the world, yeah, they eating wheat. And they're trying to cut off his money. They want to take out Russia and cut off his money, which is one of the reasons they're bringing us so close to this war.
So, Lakia Baba Kashaf, if I could, other one.
Please.
The second question is, in Egypt, right before the Most High called Moses to come get us out of Egypt, Egypt determined among themselves that we had become so powerful that they became afraid that we might ally with one of their enemies. Are we to suspect that the United States will do the same thing?
You are 110% absolutely correct. Like, that is one of the things that we will definitely be bringing out. And that is that this country has always looked at us with the fear of becoming an enemy. Let me tell you what's going on in the mindset of Edomites right now. Edomites are feeling lost right now. Number one, they feel as though we have taken over the culture. They feel like we are the ones outside having a ball. We're shooting up the neighborhood. This is the propaganda. We're shooting up the neighborhoods, partying in the restaurants, in Hollywood, doing videos. They look at us as having an exciting and wild life. And they feel vexed, like they can't come out their house. They can't be on top. They can't rule anymore. You understand? And so, of course, like anybody that does something evil to you, they always think about what'll happen if you get enough power to exact revenge on them. Make no mistake, they saw what happened in South Africa. They saw what happened when apartheid got pulled down in South Africa, and how the Edomites became second-class citizens, and how they ran them out of the country and slaughtered a whole bunch of them that they're not talking about, and how the country itself descended in chaos and riots and has become halfway lawless. They know about that, and their fear is that that's what happens with us. And then again, they have the history. They got the history of the Panthers, the history of Martin Luther King, the history of the Muslims. And they know that all of these groups at some time collaborated with somebody else overseas, in some other country. So they fear that greatly, and they fear the UPK for that reason. They like the fact that we are at odds with the so-called Jew, but they fear that we will unite with all of our people here, and in that uniting, we'll be separate from all the other nations, which is exactly what's going to happen And it's exactly what happened with Moses. Only difference is Moses won't be walking us out of here this time. This time Christ will be returning to do massive destruction on this planet. So yeah, they fear that, and it's a healthy right fear. Because once again, in the Revelations, the scripture said that when we stood on our feet, they feared us greatly, man. And that day is coming if we all come back to the body of Christ and stand up. Now, if we stay out there, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a bloodbath on us. They wait till they start exporting prisoners to other countries. Wait till they end birthright citizenship. Wait till they start implementing those laws. Okay, some of the laws they implemented right now in Florida, they're making it illegal in Florida for you to teach slavery outside of the curriculum they lay down. You understand? Which in that curriculum that they lay down, it states that slavery had great benefits for black people because black people learned so many skills, according to them, which is a damn lie. They brought us over here based on what we knew. If you knew how to grow rice while you were living in the interiors of Africa, when you got put on that boat, you got labeled and numbered as somebody that could farm rice.
Right.
When you got to the auction block over here in the United States, that was part of your selling point.
Right.
Was that you knew how to grow rice. So different farmers who needed different things grown would wait for those slaves that had those skills and then bought those slaves at auction and brought them to their land to do that work. So the idea that we gain skills from these people is ridiculous. But that's how it's being touted.
I'm the water out of the wine.
Hey, the water you out. The water for the cold.
All right, the water, brother. We
All right,
appreciate
shalom.
it. We're gonna go to Righteous Man. So you can remove Masha. There you go. There you go. So we're gonna go to Righteous Man. We see you, brother. Can you unmute your mic, Righteous Man? There you go. All right, Righteous Man, you there? You can go ahead and ask your question. You got to add them to. You added them. All right, Righteous Man, can you just give me a 1-2 real fast? Righteous Man, you muted. There you go. Can you give me a 1-2 real fast? I can't hear him. I don't know. All right, we're gonna have to. Don't remove him. We'll see if he comes back. Okay.
Righteous Man, we can't see or hear you.
Until then, I think Officer Abadja had a question. He's back. We get one more shot. Go ahead, the Righteous Man.
We can't hear you. Make sure you allow the app to get permission to your microphone.
So leave him there. Let Abadja ask the question, and then if we can hear him, we'll let him ask after. So Abadja, so like I said, Commander Jenny Hanna, Officer Abadja said he has a question for you.
Khan, please.
Shalom, sir. Yabashim Shabrakta.
Shabrakta. What's going on, mighty man?
Salakia, sir. I was just curious. Magog, is that supposed to be Salakia, the ex-Soviet countries, meaning the ones that broke away from Gog, or rather Russia? And if that's the case, since we know Magog will also be turned back, does that mean Putin, or rather Russia's initiative to try to somewhat bring back the Soviets will at least be partially successful, where some of it does return back?
Absolutely. It's going to be greatly successful because that also includes Turkey. All of those areas include Turkey. And those countries, all those Eastern Bloc countries are already turning. Belarus, all of them are turning back towards Russia. You notice they're quiet about Georgia. They're quiet about Lithuania. They're quiet about a lot of those Eastern Bloc countries. Poland is adamantly against them, but
right.
but the rest of them Eastern Bloc countries, they sitting on the fence. They don't want to piss Putin off. They don't want Putin invading their country. Believe me, they all watching how he burnt down Ukraine, and they saying to themselves, win or lose, there ain't no more Ukraine. So whether the United States backs them or not, hell, they don't want their country to end up burnt down like the Ukraine, even if it means they get the country back. So they trying to play the fence. So yes, they're gonna be drawn right back in. Turkey's already making decisions against the NATO countries. So yeah, They're all going back into that zone. They're not gonna have a choice.
Sir. So as far as Ukraine's concerned, do you think that'll be the war? Do you think Russia will defeat Ukraine, or do you think Ukraine will be able to join NATO and just have to call that a loss?
Listen, Ukraine is gone. And shalom. Ukraine is never coming back.
Sir.
That the Ukraine, they're gonna fight the Ukraine, brother, until it's a desert.
Sir. Basically, at this
point, that's basically what they're gonna do, and they're gonna do that simply because they don't really care about Ukraine. They care about they care about destroying Russia. So that's what they want. They want Russia to stay in the Ukraine and fight until there's nothing left of Russia. Whatever happens to Ukraine, they could care less about.
Sir, if I may,
and if I could, that's not it. A lot of countries are going to end up this way right before the full grand finale of the nuclear war. You're going to see other countries in Central and South America as well as in Eastern Europe. You're going to see countries that are just going to basically fall apart and basically be kept up with propaganda. Don't be surprised. France may not hold that much longer. You might see, if France doesn't hold that much longer, you might start to see the countries that France have had under their foot for hundreds and hundreds of years. You may see them start to pull away as China invests more into Africa. The world is going to change, and a lot of countries are going to slip out from under their captivity. It's too bad we don't think the same way, because we'd be slipping out from under ours as well.
We can come back to you, but sir.
Water, sir.
Greatly appreciate.
What are you worried?
All right. Unworthy servant. If you want to turn your camera back on.
Okay. How are you guys?
Oh, this is the weird.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother? You got a question or comment, brother?
First of all, let me ask you a question. What's your nationality?
Yeah, did you hear the question, dude?
Yeah. So I'm from Africa.
You from where in Africa? And don't hesitate this time.
I'm Ethiopian.
Okay. Let's hear it. Yeah, go ahead.
You still want the question, sir?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, no sweat. All right.
Okay, so
he was screaming to that.
Do you think that you represent like the love of Christ as revealed by the scriptures?
Say that again. Are you saying, do I think I would present the love of Christ?
He's Salagi, sir. He said, "Do you feel like you represent the love of Christ?" According
that's
to
a good question. That's a very good question. You know how I know that I represent the love of Christ? Because you being an Ethiopian and having to ask me that question is absolute glorifying proof that I am teaching and expounding and spreading the full love of Christ. Because you, like so many others that are not born of the 12 lost tribes of the children of Israel, can't see the passion and compassion and the love of Christ that spread to the 12 tribes. Most heathens, and this is not, a slight against you or any other heathen. This is just a fact. Most heathens can't relate to us loving us. They can relate to us loving them. Like, that's why Christianity is so easily spread among the world, because all heathens can relate to another nation loving them. If I was teaching about how wonderful the Ethiopians are, you would understand it. If I was teaching about how wonderful other Africans are, how wonderful the Chinese are, how Jesus is coming to save the Chinese, or Jesus is coming to save the Ethiopian, you would not ask me that question. You would say, I've listened to him and he has the love of Christ. But because I don't say that, you can't see the love of Christ in me towards my brothers and sisters who are the ones who are supposed to get it. Let me ask you a question. When Christ said, "It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it onto the dogs," was Christ spreading the love of Christ?
That would be like Christ speaking from his heart. So I don't really know.
But was he spreading was he spreading his love when he said that?
No, I wouldn't say from that scripture. He was just speaking like he has come to the Jews like to save the lost sheep of Israel. I think
Can you tell me what he's saying? Because I'm missing it.
Yeah, he's saying he don't look at that as spreading love. He's just giving his concept for Israel. I don't know if
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I see it. I see
You know what
it.
I mean? See, you as an Ethiopian, you couldn't understand that scripture was so filled with love. You couldn't understand that. That scripture was filled with love.
That's right.
That scripture was dripping with the honey of love. But you can't see it because you don't see the fact that some people are going to have to stop receiving all the love so that the people who have not received the love in 400 years can now receive the love.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
Like that's hard to understand for people of another nation. Is there poverty and starvation in Ethiopia right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, there are. Now, what if I said to you, we're going to make England, the British Empire, we're going to make them a little bit more poor. We're going to take the British Empire and we're going to lower it down economically to about 50% of what it is right now. And when we lower it to 50%, all of the wealth and the power that we take from Great Britain, we are now going to properly feed all of the Ethiopians. So now England would still be great, but they'll be at 50%. But now Ethiopia will no longer be starving.
But aren't you like breaking one of like the commandments where?
Hey, Saki, sir, would you finish asking your question?
Not yet.
Con. Yeah,
I'm
good.
asking
Be quiet, dude.
a hypothetical question.
Right.
If that were the case, would that be love towards Ethiopia for Britain to do that?
Yeah.
Well, then why can't you understand the love of Christ? Why can't you understand that you who have gotten rich and lived deliciously off the slavery of the Lord's chosen people, you who have stolen the identity of the Lord's chosen people and called yourselves descendants of the 12 tribes, why can't you see that you are going to lose all of it? Because it's right that you lose it so that the people who are the chosen of that can now receive their portion. You understood the love towards Ethiopia, but you can't understand the love towards the real Jews. You can't even understand it out of Christ's own mouth. And that's what your problem is. That's what all the heathens' problem is.
Facts.
You question whether or not we give love of Christ. That's all we do is give the love of Christ.
I'm specifically asking you of your organization.
I just answered the question.
That's right.
I just answered it.
No.
I said I prefaced it with pouring out love like honey.
Okay.
Of Christ. I just prefaced it. And I just gave you an example. I just gave you an example of it.
Okay.
Con, sir.
Please, go
So
ahead.
you just gave me a new name for oil.
I'm not speaking against African Americans. What I'm
say that again.
He said he's not speaking against. You got to speak up, dude.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta
here's
speak
the
up.
thing,
He's
right?
saying he's not
But
saying anything against
and
African
first of
Americans.
all, I never stripped you of your history or whatever. You accused me of things I never did or none of my ancestors did. Like, I don't have a history of hating you. I don't have a history of just you see me and you just assume all these things. How do
let
you
me
think?
let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question then.
Okay.
Is there a temple in Ethiopia right now that claims to house the Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah.
Then you have done something to me.
But I'm not even part of that organization. That's just
But you are a part of those people, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I don't follow their religious ideology.
Let me ask you another question.
Okay.
When we came into slavery in America,
Okay.
what were the
you never went through slavery.
Oh, you saying we never came into slavery in America?
No, what I'm saying is your ancestor might experience slavery.
When I say me and we, I'm talking about my people.
That's
yeah,
right.
you've never even faced Jim Crow, let alone slavery. So I don't even know why you're speaking.
Once again, when I say my people, I'm talking about my people, the people that came into slavery that we are the descendants of.
That's right.
And just so you could understand, I know you can't understand this because, like all heathen, you could only understand love to yourself. But not only did I go through Jim Crow, not only did I go through slavery, but I'm living it right now. I'm living slavery now. I'm living Jim Crow now. You don't act like you're in the United States and you don't know what black people go through every day as a result of coming here in slavery.
I am in the United States.
Okay, then you know that black people are killed and destroyed every day in this country based on that same. Let me finish. You know good and well black people are suffering in America today based on what happened to their ancestors.
That's right.
You know, they're living in this generational hellhole that they've been in for hundreds of years. You already know that. You already know the government poured drugs into black neighborhoods to destroy them. Those are extensions of slavery. You may not experience it, but we experience it. You don't know anything about the broken families and the broken families of broken families and the broken families of broken families that have to try to raise children and become normal humans in society. What do you know about that?
That's
so
right.
How can you decide what I suffered and did not suffer as a result of slavery? You can't determine that. But once again, when I told you the example of Ethiopia, you had no problem with Great Britain giving up its wealth for you and Ethiopia to have a better life. And you didn't question whether or not Ethiopia deserved it. You didn't question whether or not Ethiopia got itself in slavery or in poverty or in starvation. You didn't question any of those things. But you was willing to receive whatever you could receive for Ethiopia. But when I want to receive what the love of Christ for my people, now you want to say I don't necessarily deserve it, in other words, because I didn't suffer it. That's why you got to be in chains, my friend. That's why you got to be in chains in slavery. That's love for an Ethiopian. To put you in chains and to walk you like a dog is the best thing for someone like you, because you're incapable of love for God's people. See, you are devoid of love.
Right.
No, we've had slavery in Ethiopia, by the way, and the other thing. Okay.
Hey, be quiet, dude.
Devoid of love.
He's just making a lot of sense.
Us. Okay. You understand? Let me ask you something. What should the United States do for the black people in America to lift them out of poverty and out of what they're suffering? What should they do?
So,
being friend?
Okay, so first of all, we've had slavery in Ethiopia for 300 years.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Okay, so I do believe that there has to be racial equality and freedom.
There has
I
to
know
be what?
that
He
I
said
know that
racial
there's
equality.
He said racial equality is what he said.
Okay.
Sir.
There has to be
and
racial equality.
I
Are
know
you
that
in,
there's
are you in
places.
favor? Are you in favor of taking away half of the United States wealth to make it happen?
Of course, because
Great.
okay.
Great. Then listen to me closely. Don't you ever open your mouth and tell a black person that they didn't go through slavery.
That's right.
You ever
That's
do that.
right.
Because you know good and daggone well that just like you willing to receive for Ethiopia, you know good and well that black people should receive as well. Don't you ever act like we didn't go through slavery. Now I took up enough of my time talking to you. You a heathen anyway. So
Come on, sir. Don't worry, we got you covered, sir.
for a night.
Like, if I may, Commander Yohanna, can you just check your sound, Baba Kasha? Because a few moments ago, the sound went from very strong to kind of like almost staticky, robotic. It wasn't as strong.
When you had done an interview,
It might be my signal down here.
that might be it. So I think that's the same thing you said when Sarnetta interviewed you.
Yeah, it's the we got a signal in here that's acting up that we got to get right. You know what I mean? I think we got to put buffers on these microphone wires or something so that the signal doesn't, bounce out. So I'll get on that.
Blame the white man, sir.
And sir, before we take the next person, you see how cruel it was when he tried to say we didn't descend from, like he tried to say you didn't descend from none of that. Like
right.
But when you asked him about the Ethiopian, sir, he was all for that. Oh yeah, England should give it all up.
He didn't hesitate on that. Listen, he was so vile that Christ saying, take the children's bread and give it to the dogs was just Christ talking about his, his, I guess, opinion. But when it came to the Ethiopians receiving something, he could understand that.
No, yeah, he definitely
when it came to the children of Israel receiving something that the heathens were asking for, that he couldn't see as love.
No, he couldn't see
He don't see it as love when a white person gets on their knees before the brothers in the Israelite school of UBK and begs for forgiveness on their knees while kissing the boots of those brothers. That is love.
That's right.
That's real love.
That's right.
You understand? That's real love.
That's
that
right.
Ain't talk love. That's real love.
Come on, sir.
And that's how it should be.
Yes,
but
sir.
Again,
And if I
the
could just,
heathen can't understand it, Cesario. You understand? As a heathen, the most educated heathens could never understand black people, West Indian, Latinos, and Native Indians receiving any love. They just don't understand.
no, they don't, sir. And what I like about that is that spirit on that Ethiopian is the same on the white man. They have all kind of compassion on their own, but they can never have compassion on us. But then challenge us when we just want to be the same way. We want to have compassion on our own.
Yes.
We prioritize our own. That question you asked about Christ letting the children first be fed was like the body bag, because Christ clearly is saying, I want my people first.
Right.
And that's love.
And he didn't have no problem with Great Britain losing 50% of their wealth so that Ethiopia could be good.
Right.
But why couldn't he understand the love of Christ when he said, I'm not want to give this power to these Edomites, but I want to give it to the children of Israel? That he can't understand. Let me tell you something. Christianity is a diabolical evil thing because it is what is used by every heathen to point a finger at us and check us for loving ourselves.
That's right, sir.
Like do you think that your organization is expounding the love of Jesus? In other words, telling the heathens what they've done to us.
Right.
Telling them about the crimes they committed against us is us not having love. Meanwhile, those Ethiopians, brother, are all over America. They in Philly, New York, DC, everywhere. And everywhere they're at, they congregate together. They buy their real estate together. They open their restaurants together. They open their housing and other businesses together. They ain't in business with us. They ain't sharing with us.
That's right.
They're all over this country building their own Ethiopian neighborhoods, their own Ethiopian businesses. They doing like every heathen does in America. America's a place where heathens come and set up their people to make money off of us. They build themselves a neighborhood like Chinatown, like Ethiopian neighborhoods, and so many others, and they take their wealth and they carry that wealth right back to their own country because they love their own country.
Kind of what kind,
And the minute you start saying, well, we're going to love ourselves, we're going to keep ourselves, then it's, are you sure you're being like Christ?
Right.
Are you sure? Okay. So since we're not being like Christ, you tell every Ethiopian neighborhood in America that they better diversify. You
That's
tell
right.
them to stop having all the businesses and restaurants in the same neighborhood belonging to Ethiopians. You
Come-
tell them to integrate with everybody else. You tell them to show the love to all the blacks and Latinos. You can go down to DC and go up to Silver Springs and look at the Ethiopian neighborhood in Silver Springs. Black men in the gutter, starving, homeless in the shelter. Ethiopian restaurants with so-called black people all around them, walking over them like they're the filth of the earth when they died in the 60s to open the door for these heathens to come over here and to even open up a goddamn business. And
That's
you
right.
got the nerve to ask us, do we have the love of Christ? We know you don't have the love of Christ. So what the hell are you talking about?
Yes, sir.
Salakia.
No sweat, sir. That's why I was looking forward to you coming on today.
Most
Salakia.
High Christ. Salakia.
No sweat.
I mean, the audacity of these heathens. And if I could add one other thing too,
Yes,
Cap,
sir.
and that's
Yes,
why
sir.
we tell black people and Latino people, you got to stop listening to these heathens like they know what they're talking about.
Right.
These heathens use Christianity to punk you into not loving your own people.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, they loving their own people. Go
Mhm.
down to their neighborhood. The first person they renting to is their own. You understand? Go ask them who their lawyer is. It's their own. The
Right.
Italians do it. The white Jews do it. The Ethiopians do it. Definitely the Chinese been doing it since turn of the century. The Japanese do it. The Koreans do it. The East Indians do it. The various Arab countries do it. Go find the neighborhood where all the Arab chicken joints are at. They got chicken joints in every ghetto. Now come up to their neighborhood.
Right.
And in their neighborhood, they got all their temples in their neighborhood, and they own all the real estate in their neighborhood. And you couldn't get a job, brother, if you rip your chest open and cut yourself till the blood came out. They still wouldn't hire you. So don't tell me, man.
Yes,
Like
sir.
they exercise racism against us while using Christianity to tell us you don't have the love of Jesus. Christ had the best love, the kind of love that didn't allow them to come and abuse us.
That's right.
Because when you read that story, everybody knows that Caiaphas wasn't nothing but a whore for the Romans. That's why Christ was against them. Christ turned us back to the Father and turned us back to loving ourselves and turned us from loving the puppets who the heathens were using to break our spirits down and to make us love them instead of ourselves, man. This is the love of Christ. Telling you heathens, get the hell out away from our people. Stop getting rich off of us. Stop force feeding us your culture. Stop shoving your ideas down our throat. Stop playing your horrible music on black radio stations.
Yes, sir.
Like, do that then. You understand? Don't pretend love and inclusion while you making money off of us. While you trying to enslave us.
Yes, sir.
I'd rather live in a tent than have to rent from a daggone African, man.
Now, that's a bar. I'd rather live in a tent. That's a bar. I'm a boy. You done gave me more. I mean, no, that's on point right there. So, like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. All right, so we got a question from now this one is coming from Clubhouse. We got AWOL on Clubhouse. Brother, are you still there? You want to unmute?
Slaggy, sir.
And one Salaki Cap, one last thing. I got to say,
no sweat, so good. Get down.
Every brother and sister out there, please do not let no heathen run a guilt trip on you for loving your own.
That's right.
Every heathen loved their own. Akon got up there, man, and trashed black men after he got rich off of black men.
That's right.
Trashed black men.
That's
Everybody
right.
want to tell you what you should be doing, and meanwhile they're loving their own and telling you wrong when you don't love your own.
Yep.
The
That's right.
hell do an Ethiopian got to do with me? Nothing. I
That's
take
right.
the tent. God damn it. So lock it. Yeah.
No sweat, no sweat, sir. You got it, sir. AWOL, you there?
Concert.
No sweat. You got it. You
I
got
can
to
listen
ask
to
your
that for
question.
like another 45 minutes though.
My bad, bro. My
Nah, I really could. I really could.
You know what I mean? Like some levels of disrespect got to get answered. You know what I'm saying?
God.
Just to ask that question is an amazing disrespect. But I'm glad he got to ask it. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's like I'm gonna replay that tonight though. I'm gonna hear that one more time. But
no time
Shalom, Captain.
Shalom.
In the wake of what's going on, what has been going on lately with the so-called different camps and different levels of disrespect and things like that, what would you say is the reason behind it, and what would be the protocol, especially if something was to escalate or even go beyond what's been going on lately? Shalaki.
That's a good question, That's a very good question. First of all, let me just say this. If anything goes down, everybody should be coming to the UPK.
Facts.
And furthermore, here's the sadder part. I'm now clear. I already got the report. Everything that you have seen going on in conflict in the Israelite world was manufactured by Esau. Every bit of it, going all the way back, you understand, to the early 90s. All of it was manufactured by Esau. Every break-off group, GMS, House of David, HOI, I think I'm not House of Israel. Every single group, all of it, Jesus Christ Church, all of it was manufactured by Esau. Every bit of it. The only thing that was not manufactured by Esau that they slipped up on was us in the ISUPK. They slipped on us and we got away. And once we got away, we grew. And when we grew, we became a problem. But every group is a break off based on what they did to us. And what's going on with the Purple Cats is the exact same thing, just on another level. So basically, you got one Israelite nation, the ISUPK, the same one you had in the beginning. And everything you see going on is a result of their infiltration and destruction. And so what I say to every brother and sister, man, if you want to make it out of here, come into the ISUPK. And this ain't no slight on any sincere brothers who have been trying to build their camps. This is not a slight on you. It's not, I don't know you, most of you. Some of you I know, you've been around a little while. Most of you I don't know you. I've never even met you. And even the ones that I've met, I barely have ever worked with you. So I don't have no personal beef with you. But I also know that your selfishness with trying to build some side camp is also a result of a COINTELPRO done by Esau. And you were pushed into that position to do that. And I hate to say it, but it's going to take a strong act of the Lord to get you to wake up and realize that you've been on a treadmill that they created for you. And that it's time to get off that treadmill and bring this body together regardless of what's going on. The ISUPK is where the Most High built it at. Right. And this is it here. And I'm just carrying on what the Lord brought down to us. And if you listen to anybody else, I feel for you. Because so many got to die from hard-headedness. That's the one thing I never understood. I never understood a man that couldn't follow orders and be a soldier. I never understood it. Because it saves lives so much. That's why Esau got it in his military. He got that from us when you go back and read our records. That's where he got it from. And the same applies now. You understand? I hold the position and the rank. It ain't no question that my pedigree, my position, all of that is totally lined up with the original ISUPK. And the work that I've done with these great brothers is further proof that the ISUPK is the place. And every brother and sister should be allowed to come in here. Now, we're fighting a battle, a spiritual battle, because Esau have created the purple pigs to come up against the ISUPK at this time, because now we're getting so powerful. They see us getting so powerful. They know that I can't be bought. They know that I come out the original school, so can't nobody say I work for some government or I this or there's you can trace my history back to the projects. You understand? I've never been in anything else. I've never been a gang member. I've never been in any other thing but the truth. I came in as a young man and been here ever since, and they know this. And this is a problem. It's a problem because their number one tactic is disinformation. Is why they come up against the Lashawan Quadash. It's why they try to set up people like Vocab Malone. He may not even know that he works for the government, but he works for the government. He may know. He may be a straight up cop, or he may not. He could just be a regular Christian, just standing up for what he believes he should be standing up for. But they're using him. Not only him, they're using the purple pigs. And so the way to eliminate that is to find the men of God who have come with a pure heart. I certify my generals. They've all done 20 plus years with me. I've had time to examine them and so forth and so on. And any captain that I certify, you can best believe that he's coming up in them ranks the right way. If you hear me mention him, you hear me give him accolades, you hear me talk about him, you can best believe he's stacking up acts of righteousness before the world for his pedigree for the future. Like, this is important. Christ had to lay down his pedigree. Christ, now why would Christ, the Savior who did miracles, why did Matthew still have to write down his pedigree in Matthew's the 2nd chapter? Because that's part of who we are as a nation. You understand? It started with our royalty from David. And it goes down, not saying I'm David or David C. What I'm saying is we carry those pedigrees.
Right.
And those pedigrees give us authority. And these things have to be utilized. Why? Because if you don't utilize it, you could be fooled by anybody they prop up. They can bring anybody in and prop them up and lie to you and tell you whatever. And you wouldn't know the difference. Right now, in the Jesus Christ Church, the ones that fell, that was under Tazadaki, we received intel, brother, that some of the men that's actually running the organization right now straight up work for the government, and that they holding them in a almost like in a pattern where they controlling them and squeezing them and terrorizing them and scaring the hell out of them to really get them up underneath them and get a tight organization. So whenever they need them, they'll be able to call on them, and their members out of fear will carry out whatever act they want. This is what we've been hearing. Now we'll see. If you all of a sudden you see them pop out and do something crazy, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked, because it's because, once again, Esau is he's scared. He's going to war and he's scared of the Hebrew Israelites, and he's scared of our reach. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. So in light of all of that, if anything goes down, listen, man, come and get in touch with me ASAP. Bring your family, your babies, whatever. And we, as a body of Christ, we're going to take care of each other. You understand? That's the mission. And I hope our people could see it. So I hope that answers your question.
Concert, the water.
Hey, the water you want.
All right, we're going to go back to the live stream. We got CeeLo. Is that Celio? Okay, no sweat. You can bring Officer Tazayar. All right, Officer Tazayar, you got to unmute your mic.
Oh, this is a familiar face. This is a very familiar face. How you doing, brother?
Shalom, Yahweh Patam.
Yahweh
General,
how you been, man?
Captains, resting.
Absolutely,
resting. Thank the Lord.
That's right. You did a really kind thing, man, to the whole nation. To confess those things that you did, and to apologize the way you was. That was strong as it could be. I know it was a lot of pressure on you to do that.
All right.
Did you have a question up? Come on with it up.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so like,
I think we might be losing.
my question
you,
is,
go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
All right. My question is, you know, in every religion, in every belief outside of the UPK, they always have a reason to comply with it and to follow it and to live by it, right?
Right.
What is ours in the ISUPK? Like, what is our reason to, you know what I mean? Like Mormons will say, like, okay, they put this in the scripture and this and that, and Muslims will say they have a rock that came from a different planet or some shit like that. Like, what is our thing? Like, what do?
Here's what I would think.
How do we come?
How do we what?
How do I tell people that this is the righteous way? Like, there's no other, because there can't be no other, because we're the home of the truth. How do I convince people that this is the only way that we get back to the lost, that we get back to our Lord?
Here's how. Here's how. You do two things. You tell every brother and sister that the ISUPK doesn't just teach the Bible, we live it.
Facts.
And then, you know what you do? You live it.
Live it.
And then you know what's going to happen to them? It's just what Christ said. Let every man be convinced in his own mind. If you teach the truth and you live it, I mean, live it like Christ said, not like them purple pigs and all these other fakes out here, but you actually live it.
Right.
Then Christ said this: they shall know you are my disciple because you love one another. How do we know the Christian church is wrong? All we got to do is look at blacks and Latinos that have been in that church. Child molestation, rape, drugs. I mean, these houses, I just got a report from General Muhammad last night, brother, that what's going on in these homes of black people and Latino people that come out of Christianity is a nightmare. Because they teaching God, 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 but they doing the total opposite of God. But if you learn this truth in the UPK and you do it, brother, everybody's going to see that you live the words that you say. And when they see that, they'll be convinced in their mind that you got the truth. When they see you get off of drugs, and this happens all the time, brothers' families see them all of a sudden, they stop selling drugs. They stop using drugs. They stop doing the evil things they did in the world. They start waking up people to do the right thing. They start living that way. They actually come over their house and it ain't no pork in the house no more. And they're like, what the heck is going on with you? And then they see you living it. And then the day comes when they really need you. The day comes when they're confused, or when all the things that happen in the world happens, and then the Lord has you there to answer it. When they see that, when you hear them say, I don't agree with what you say, but it sure made your life better. You have taught them the truth.
That's right.
You have won them. Understand?
He went out.
He went out. Oh yeah, he's there. You understand? We gotta live it and show it to them, and then they'll know when that time comes. They'll know because they'll be convinced in their own mind. And they'll walk into this body.
Concert. That was
that it?
That was it.
Most High in Christ.
All right.
All right.
Take me to seat. Yeah, there we go. Cilio. Cilio, you there? You gotta unmute, dude. Take me to seat. Yeah, there we go.
Hi, how are you?
Cilio? No
Can you
problem.
turn us off in the back?
Can you turn us off in the
I'm
background?
here. Thank you. You hear me?
You gotta unmute, dude. You gotta turn me down in the background.
I hear him. I hear him.
You hear me? Hi, how are you?
Yeah, so he just
Turn us
playing
off in
the
the back.
audio.
I'm here. All
Say
right.
again.
Is
No,
that-
he was
is
playing
that
us in
okay
the
now?
background, so he was getting the reverb.
can-
No, you good now.
Hold on.
No,
What's
you
going on, brother?
You got a question or comment?
Sorry, hold on.
No, you good.
He got to put the head. He can't
Okay.
hear now. He put the headphones in.
Okay. All right, you there?
Okay, my question is about. I'm sorry because I have the double.
You have what?
So my question is regarding the Hebrew that you guys pronounce generally. Like, it's very, because I've been studying Hebrew for a little bit, and I'm really curious why most of the syllables that you guys pronounce in your Hebrew, it's always the a, the ah, and it might be a very simple question. I'm just curious why. Is there a way to you guys trying to differentiate the Hebrew you use than from the commonly used? That's one question, and the other. I have another follow up that.
That's an excellent question, brother.
Regarding another topic, the two witnesses of Revelation 11. I want to know what's your position based on that.
Okay, let me answer the first one, then I'll ask.
The individuals agree.
I don't know if he got some type of delay, sir. I don't think he's doing it intentionally. Cilio.
Those are my questions. Appreciate it.
Okay. Here, let me answer the first one. The first one is, you said you study in Hebrew, right?
I believe that's what he said. I think he got a delay, sir. He might not hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right, then I'm just going to answer him. All right. Because, okay, most people that study Hebrew are not studying Hebrew from its ancient early text. They study Hebrew that is handed down to them usually by the so-called Jew. And the so-called Jew uses a modernized form of Babylonian Hebrew. That's what they use. And that modernized form of Babylonian Hebrew puts vowels inside the Hebrew language. The Hebrew language does not have any vowels. It never did. That's why the Greeks called it a barbarian language, because of the ah sound in the language. Ba, da, ga, ha, ah. That's considered a barbarian language. The original Hebrew never had that. You can go to Yale, Harvard, check all the top universities, and they'll tell you the same thing. That the language was made up of consonants. It was the Babylonians that first tried to implement vowels to make the language usable in the Babylonian Empire. It then later on had evolved into another type of Hebrew by the time the so-called Jew got it. And then, of course, they came from other parts of the world, which created Yiddish and all the other broken styles of Hebrew. But when you go to study Hebrew, to really understand Hebrew, you have to go back to the very beginning. And in the beginning, there were no vowels. So all of your words, there's no oo sound in Hebrew. There's no oo sound. There's no va sound. Okay, in Hebrew. Those are things that they created later. And so they used vowels to do that, and they screwed the language all up. What's beautiful about us is we go back to the ancient language. We go back to the ancient language and we use it from its ancient point of view, which is why it's called the Lashawan Kodash. So I don't know if he can hear me, but I hope that answers his question. Oh, now the second question was about a scripture, correct?
Yes, sir. The second question was, what is your position or view on the two witnesses of Revelations 11? How will we recognize them, and do you see them as individuals or a group of people? That's right. He wrote to us what his question was.
Right. The two witnesses, you're seeing the two witnesses right now. The two witnesses are Judah and Israel.
That's right.
We are the witnesses. And we are witnessing against the world. That's why we on every corner. Why are there blacks and Latinos standing on the corners all over the world? Even after the churches left, the mosques left, the other religions are gone. Nobody's teaching about God now except in these churches and synagogues and on some online places. Why are the Hebrew Israelites on every street corner? Because those are your two witnesses. And they witnessing against this place for all the things that it's done evil. And what it means to witness is to say what has happened, like a witness in court. Your Honor, I saw the man pull out a gun. I saw him shoot the other man. And the judge says he's guilty, let him pay for his crime. Well, that's what the witnesses are doing. Judah and Israel are witnessing against the empires of the world and saying, yes, they enslaved us. Yes, they murdered and killed here. Yes, they burnt down that country. Yes, they broke that law. Yes, they erected that religion. Yes, they lied on Christ. Yes, they whitewashed him and made him white. Yes, they created a God over here. We are witnessing against this evil. And those two witnesses are before us. You should see them every day. You understand? Did we lose him?
No, but I think because of his delay, he might not respond right. So he'll have to hear, your response, sir. That way. We'll just go ahead to the next person. You gotta remove him, Ashar. Let's bring in Napash Ra'ai. Napash, you there?
Honorable Khan, sir. Yahweh
What's going on, mighty man?
I'm Tawab, sir. How about yourself, Adawan?
Good.
Most High in Christ. I got two quick questions, sir.
All right.
If I may. My first question, I would say, is on the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3.
Okay.
I wanted to know what the meaning of the wine was in verse 3 and verse 8. For the bishop, it says, not given to no wine. And for the deacon, it's not given to much wine. What is the meaning of that wine in that scripture, sir?
So, like, just for clarity, sir, it says not given to wine. It doesn't say no wine.
Right.
It says not given to wine.
Right, sir.
Right. No sweat. No sweat. If I say I'm gonna give you my daughter for marriage, what does that mean?
Salaki, sir, if I may, I believe that means that you're giving me your treasure to take to myself.
To take to yourself. If I say to a bottle of wine, I'm going to give you my son to this bottle of wine, what am I saying?
That he can have that bottle of wine, sir.
No, because I'm giving him to the wine, to the bottle. I'm not giving the bottle to him. I'm taking my son and handing him to the bottle. What am I saying?
Salaki, sir, I'm not 100% sure at all.
Let's go back. Let's go back one more time real quick. If I take my daughter and I give her to you and I say, I'm giving you my daughter.
Right.
What am I doing with my daughter? What am I doing with my daughter to you? What does my daughter become to you?
Salaki, sir, she becomes my possession.
Yes. So you own my daughter now.
Right.
You lead my daughter. You are in charge of my daughter.
Right.
If I take my son and I give my son to a bottle of wine, what am I saying?
That the bottle of wine owns your son.
Yes. Yes. So when the Lord said not given to wine, meaning you are not to allow the wine to become the authority over you now. You can't be a drunkard. You can't be a man in charge and be a drunkard. You got to be a man in charge, but you got to have control over that liquor. That's one of the criterias of being in charge. You can have a drink, but you got to control that drink. It didn't say don't have a drink. It said not given to it. Meaning it does not become your authority. You understand what I'm saying? When you become an alcoholic, now you know the wine controls you. You ever see an alcoholic when they can't get a drink? They get the shakes. They get vexed.
Right.
They're arguing. And when they get the drink, then they drink too much. Because now the wine controls them. It's no different than somebody on drugs, on fentanyl or crack or syrup. They're given to that drug. Now that drug is their authority.
Right.
So the Lord is saying to not have any of those things be an authority over you if you plan to run a school. A bishop is over a body.
Right.
And a deacon is his assistant over those bodies.
Right.
And so for him, if you want to run a school and you want to be in charge of a body of men, if you want to hold rank, you can't be controlled by the wine.
That's right.
Otherwise, we got to remove you because the wine then will be running that camp, not you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, of course, you know, Christians use that to say, see, you're not supposed to be drinking. You're not supposed to have a drink.
Right.
Meanwhile, they in there molesting kids and raping boys and fighting all night with some crazy broad. She out hoeing and he catching her hoeing, and then he got to run back and check her phone. These phones make a broad hoe on another level. Like when I was coming up, to get a hoe, you had to go up to the stroll. Cats would drive up to the, not me.
Right.
All right. I never bought a hoe in my life. All right. Not knocking those that did in their ignorance. Let us all not buy hoes. Let all the hoes stop hoeing.
Right. That's right.
But what I'm saying is, you had to go up to the stroll. Now, shoot, a hoe can act like a housewife and pop her phone out and keep on hoeing. So, you know what I mean? So today, you know what I mean, with all the madness that the Christian church produces, you want to be a man that controls yourself so that you're not caught up into the foolishness the Christian church has done to Black and Latinos that have destroyed all these homes around us. You know what I'm saying?
Khan, sir.
Khan,
sir. My second question, and Thawada, sir, for that. That definitely broke it down simply for me, Baba Thawada, sir. My second question is based on, I guess I would say Leviticus chapter like 12. I would say through chapter like 15. It's talking about the cleanliness and uncleanliness of people in terms of what makes you clean and unclean.
Right.
My question is, how does the transfer of uncleanliness work? In terms of, if I'm unclean, can I make you unclean by being around you? And what does that then mean if I become in contact with you?
It depends on the various reasons for uncleanliness, which is something you have to study. For instance, if a woman's on her monthly and she's unclean, you can't sit on the same chair she's sitting on, because then you become unclean.
Right.
You understand? If a person has passed away in the house and you enter in the house, then you become unclean regardless if you don't touch anything. If they've died and they're out in the funeral and you go out into the cemetery, you're unclean regardless as if you don't touch anything.
Right.
The thing to think about when it comes to clean and unclean is, don't make it complicated.
Okay.
Make it rules. This is how you learn clean and unclean well. Don't think of when am I clean and when am I not clean, but think of the rules of clean and unclean. A lot of times we try to focus on it to be clean, rather than looking at it like it's a hard, fast rule. The rule says if your ribs on a monthly, you don't sit in the chair that she sat in. Boom. It don't matter if you're in the house or not in the house and trying to understand clean and unclean. You just don't touch the things she touched.
Right.
As far as sitting on. You understand what I'm saying? Look at it like a hard rule. If your wife has a child, if it's a boy, she's unclean for 80 days. Bang, hard rule. I don't care if she take a bath every day, or I don't care if she don't take a bath for the whole 80 days. She's still unclean. You understand?
Right.
She have a boy, I think it's 40 days the boy, 80 days the girl. Fast, hard rule. If she have a boy, it's 40 days. I believe it's 40 days. And whatever that rule is, that's the rule. Don't worry about if she took a bath or didn't take a bath, or how clean the sheets are and how clean the room is. It's a hard rule. She's unclean for them 40 days. You carry out the rules of uncleanliness for 40 days. You see what I'm saying? If you look at it like rules, as opposed to trying to understand the merits of clean and unclean, then it makes it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like only you could determine how clean the refrigerator should be. It's up to your discretion. My clean of the refrigerator might be different than your clean of the refrigerator. My clean might be wipe it down once and some crumbs don't mean nothing. Your clean might, nigga, get that vacuum cleaner in here, man, and vacuum that thing top to bottom and clean it right. That's our idea of clean. But when it comes to the Lord, it's a hard, fast rule. And if you stick to the rule, then you won't get caught up into the whole dynamics of what is clean and unclean. You'll know the rule says you unclean. The rule says you clean. Done. And so as you study those, study the reasons for the unclean and the time that goes along with it. You go into a house and the person has leprosy, the Lord got a 7-day rule. They unclean for 7 days, they to be separated. It don't matter if your wife might have a monthly, it only lasts 2 days. So for 5 days, she don't have a monthly, but she's still unclean. You see what I'm saying? It's a hard, fast rule. So if you stick to that, it'll be easy to understand.
Khan, sir, and Salakia, sir, if I may, in terms of when I become unclean in any of those situations, in terms of transferring that unclean to another brother, does that even apply, or am I just supposed
it applies. It applies based on the rule. Like in other words, if the rule says if you go to a funeral, you're unclean for 7 days.
Right.
And it also will say if you enter into a house, that house is unclean.
Right.
Which means you will make a brother unclean by entering into the house. It's a hard rule. So every rule has a time limit on it, and every rule explains how you can make something else unclean within that rule. Like the rule is complete. You do this, you unclean. You're unclean for this amount of time. This is what you must do while you're unclean so that you don't make anybody else unclean. Right. That's every one of those laws. Every one of those laws have all three of those elements. It constitutes what makes you unclean. It constitutes how long you're unclean. And it constitutes what you must do while you're unclean to avoid making everybody else unclean. Now, if you don't go by that, yes, you are making other people clean. There's some rules where you only make a person unclean for 1 day.
Right.
Then there's some rules where you'll make a person unclean for a week.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you got to read it that way so that you can know when do I make this up? In other words, I went to a funeral. So I got to go to the funeral to know, the funeral rule to know at what point will I make somebody else unclean? You understand? And the same when it comes to your wife on her monthly or somebody with the leprosy or the birth of a child. You got to look at the rule to see at what point do I make somebody unclean? Because it's different for each type of event.
Right.
I don't know if that helps you. It makes it clear.
Khan. So basically what you're saying is that I would transfer, like if the given situation is a funeral. I went to a funeral and I become unclean for 7 days. If
Right.
any time within that 7 days I come in contact with another brother, then he would have that same 7-day uncleanliness.
No. If in that particular rule, anytime a brother came in the house with you,
okay,
or anytime you went into their house,
right,
now you made them unclean. If you was out shopping during that 7 days and you ran into a brother,
mm-hmm.
you would not make him unclean because you saw him. Hey, brother, shalom. Now,
Right.
if he touches you, now he's unclean for 1 day. He's unclean till the sun goes down.
Right.
You understand? In that particular uncleanliness rule,
right,
with the scenario you gave me, he's unclean that night. He's unclean till sun goes down.
right,
If he touches you. If he doesn't touch you, he's not unclean.
right.
If he comes in the house with you, now he's unclean for 7 days.
Most High in Christ.
Depending on the rule.
Khan. So every time if I'm unclean and I come in for whatever one of the reasons is, being that it's on the flower or funeral or death.
But remember, they're not all the same.
Right.
They're not. Right.
So
that determines how long I'm unclean. But if I'm in contact with another brother, he's unclean till the even.
Not in every case.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
in every case. That's why you have to study the law.
Right.
To know what are the consequences in every single case.
Right.
Because they're not all the same. They switch up. They change.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Khan, sir.
Don't worry. Sit in that law class for a couple weeks.
That's all we got to do.
Class where they break the laws down.
Every
Wednesday. Khan, sir.
God, it'll start to click. You'll be like, okay, whenever this happened, this is the rule. Whenever that happened, this is the rule.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your woman on her flower is unclean for 7 days. But if you touch her, you're not unclean for 7 days. You're only unclean till that night.
Right.
But if a brother come in the house with you while you're unclean from a funeral, he ain't unclean for 1 day. He unclean for 7 days. If I got the rule right. I could be wrong on the rules. So, you know what I mean? But you get my point.
I think you're right. Khan, I read that and that's why I was saying my question was from Leviticus 12 to 15. And what you're saying is definitely ringing true. Khan, sir. I'm definitely study that out. And
yes, you got to just study each scenario to get it down.
Appreciate
all right?
it. Yep, appreciate it.
Hey, why do you?
We got one. It's like we got one. We got one more question. This is from Officer Hazahab out of New York, and then we'll go ahead and close the show.
Hazahab out of New York.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The man that makes the baddest meat trees.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. God, sir.
What's
going on, warrior?
I had a quick question on the forming or the order of the classes that we have here now. You know what I mean? The origination of it and how we got the order, and in particular, while Hebrew was the day before the Sabbath service. I just want an official stance on it if I could, sir.
Okay. All right. Officially, in the past, we had certain days that we did certain things. Okay. Now, as we restructuring and setting things up, the generals came to me and they wanted this schedule. They said, can we do this class this day and that class that day and this class that day and so forth? And I approved it. Now it wasn't necessarily this way in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the law class was Monday in the past or something like that, but this was the structure that was good for us this time, so that we could broadcast all over the world. You see what I'm saying?
You heard him?
Sir. I had the mic off. Stuck here.
Yeah, so but basically this is how it was in the past. I just allowed them to rearrange certain classes for different days. But we had all these classes in the past. We had the Hebrew, we had the law, we had the breakdown, we had all of those classes. Those are all bedrock UPK classes from the gate. They just were at different times. In other words, Ariel, because it was easier for him on the Sabbath service, a lot of times he would come in and teach the Hebrew Saturday morning as opposed to Friday night. But now we're able to do it Friday night because another brother's teaching it. You see what I'm saying? And actually several brothers are teaching it across the world. So, but we always had a Hebrew class, always had a law class. All of this is bedrock Hebrew history, ISUPK history.
That's right.
So the Hebrew class was taught Saturday mornings in the past.
Now, don't y'all go off on a tangent on that now.
No. I'm just saying.
Don't have me in there fighting the general talking about why did you tell them that, Your Honor? Now they want to change the Sabbath. Don't y'all go ahead and do that. I'm telling you, because listen, the Hebrew would have been taught on Friday night, but it was taught Saturday morning because remember, Ariah, Chief Head Priest Ariah, fell down an elevator shaft,
right,
and broke both his legs. And they thought he wasn't going to walk again. He was in a wheelchair. So it was easier for him to come in Saturday morning and teach the Hebrew rather than do it on the normal Friday night. Because it would have meant he had to be up on his feet too late. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's why it got switched to that morning. So again, we had all these classes, but they wasn't necessarily on these specific days. You follow me? Now, most of them probably were, but there's probably only one or two that was changed. You follow me? John. So now, again, don't y'all go telling Muhammad you want to change the Sabbath service to Tuesday or something. All right.
All right. So, all right. So I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to say in closing because we're going to close the show. So was there anything you wanted to say in closing, sir?
Absolutely. Hey, if you hearing this show,
You just got a little low, sir, Salaka. No, you just got a little low.
Hold on one second. You can't hear. Bear with me 1 second.
Hey, no, you good right there. You good right there, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. I'm coming right now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Just trying to get myself. Okay. If you're in the Chicago area, and even if you're not, join me in Chicago, July 28th. We're gonna be getting it on, man, in downtown Chicago, man. Talking about the Third World War. I'm bringing up the wonderful singers from Texas. They're gonna be singing. The sisters gonna be jamming up in there, man. Afterwards, man, we got a hell of an after party. We're gonna be kicking it up in there, drinks all around. We done got our liquor licenses in Chicago. The Midwest Monster of Mayhem, he gonna be in the building doing it up for us. Cap, I heard you was coming through.
I am definitely coming. Listen, Mark, I might MC the joint. I might.
My God.
I ain't that good. I don't know why they be asking me to do that, but I might try to do my best. I definitely be in the building as well.
I don't think I can, but I would love to get my boy Cottis up in there.
He's coming too. Boy. He coming too.
My God.
We'll pack his deal.
I better bring my gun with me because I know y'all gonna start I'm joking, of course, man. We're gonna have a wonderful time of brotherhood and sisterhood. Like I said, them sisters is gonna sing. And listen, I heard they can get down. I haven't heard them play yet, but the brothers is crazy about what they're gonna sing. And I heard the sister is gonna do a rendition of Jill Scott's national anthem in the building.
Oh yeah, that should be good.
She gonna drop that joint. I heard her on tape. I said, damn, she is bad. So she
that's gonna be good.
Yeah, man. All the greats, the generals will be up in there. Of course, you know, the whole 5 weekend is gonna be a monster.
That's
right. Behind this class, gonna be getting it on the barbecue, which is always off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to all the brothers out there in Chicago, all the Midwest is going to be out there. I cannot wait to see the KC4 in person. I got to look
Yes,
them
sir. Yes, sir.
I got to look them hero ass niggas in the
person.
eye.
That's right. Come on, sir. That's
Hold
right.
it down for us. I got to see them boys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So big shout out to them. Captain Kapash, he coming up. All the captains, the Golga Bar, bad as he could be. All them cats coming through. Newly raised up. The Bar Moth, he gonna be up in there. Hadar Ya'ala holding down Detroit. With his men and all the brothers out there, they gonna come through. So it's gonna be strong, man. It's gonna be strong. We're gonna break some bread, talk about our future and our safety as a people. You see by that phone call that heathen could care less
That's
about
right.
love
That's right.
for us. He couldn't even relate to it. He
Mhm.
feel like Christ ain't even involved. And we in here spending all our time and energy waking up brothers and sisters, and to him, we just ain't got the love of Christ, because these heathens are so selfish that they can't even understand Christ without them getting the benefit. So that's why we need to come together, man, talk about it, get into it, man. And I think it's gonna be a hell of a time, man. I hope y'all would join me and and support this, man, because the support would also help us carry it on further into other zones, man. So the Water Cap for having me on. The Water Cap, you got the
We
sound
appreciate it greatly.
cross the line, man. The Water for the whole cross the line posse. You understand? In the building. So Water, y'all, for putting us in. All right.
No sweat. We appreciate it, sir.
I appreciate you.
All right, sir. Shalom. Yeah.
Shalom.
All right.
Yahweh Shemiao Shabrakta.
Yahweh Shemiao Shabrakta. Thumb.
All right, sir.
All right. Sure.
All right, now you can talk about it. He ain't gonna know that. Jesus Christ.
If anybody wants tickets for the General's lecture, you can go to crossthelineradio.com right now. They are available. If you're already subscribed, you will get a discount coupon. If not, you will be paying full price. Crossthelineradio.com is where you can get your tickets if you can't be there in person.
Hey, we'll see y'all next week, Israel. Shalom. You was gonna ask that? That's what you was gonna ask.
ISUPK under commanding General Yahanna presents the Midwest Fire Weekend.
My name is Commander General Yahanna of the ISUPK, and we here in the safest place you ever could be at in Chicago.
Hosted by Captain Mawquad.
I am Captain Mawquad of the ISUPK, under Commander General Yahanna, in charge of putting this Midwest Fire Weekend together.
July 27th through July 30th, the Midwest Fire Weekend, starting Thursday, July 27th, 9909 Roosevelt Road, Suite 100, Westchester, Illinois. Breakfast at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Also, Ask the Prophet with General Mayaka Ali from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. General Mahayaman Scripture Breakdown class. From 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Cross the Line Radio with Captain Tazoriak and Captain Katazar. Late night activity from 12 a.m. until Friday, July 28th. We will have camp downtown Chicago at Magnificent Mile, 430 Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60611 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event that you don't want to miss, commanding General Yahanna's lecture.
For God's justice to be right in the earth, this entire country has to be devastated in nuclear war.
At 1522 South Wabash Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60605 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
That's right. I was a young man 35 years ago, and they said Russia would turn on America after it came together with America.
$30 per person for the lectures. Use QR code or go to Eventbrite to purchase. Following the lecture, there will be a party from 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. After that, an after-party spot from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Saturday, July 29th, the Bantu Festival from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Located at 1130 Midway Pleasance, Chicago, Illinois. After that, late night activity, TBA, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday, July 30th, the Black and Brown Cookout at Garfield Park. Located at 3631 Westlake Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60624. From 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Contact us at 312-837-8022 or 708-417-0706. The Midwest Fire Weekend in Chicago. YAHANNA.